Hi there, I'm Lee. This is Vision Eternity Ministries, and we are learning how to be ready to stand before Jesus that day without spot or wrinkle. He's teaching us, He's recreating us in His likeness as He gives us revelation knowledge. And so let's acknowledge Him. Jesus, we thank you that you are revealing truth to us today. As always, we receive it. We acknowledge you. We know that you have more for us than we can even imagine, than we thought of. And we hadn't thought that that we're not ready. And you want to make sure that we are. So we just praise you. We thank you for the revelation knowledge that you're giving us today. And Jesus wants to talk to us today about revelation knowledge and about how we get so distracted that we can't even hear him, and the things that we need to know in different situations, and how those situations, we must come to a place where we're fasting, getting rid of all those distractions and just being in that solitary place with him so that we can resolve the issues that are going on in our life. And he was comparing it to Matthew 7, where the man brought his little boy to the disciples and they couldn't do anything. And then to Jesus, and he said, "How long should I put up with you, O you of little faith?" And I've looked at this over and over again, the situation. And Jesus, the disciples weren't with Jesus. They were off doing something. And it just helps me to realize we're off doing this, that, and the other thing. And then we come up against a situation and we hadn't spent enough time. We've been distracted, and so we can't get this resolved. And Jesus is correlating that with this whole scenario. And so he's like, "How long should I put up with you, oh, you have little faith?" Faith comes by hearing, right? We know that. And so then he casts a demon out. And the disciples are like, "Why couldn't we do this?" He said, "Because of your littleness of faith, because of your unbelief." And he said, "But this kind goes out by fasting and prayer." Now, notice that word "kind." That's what he was pointing out to me today. Remember, he's correlating this with things that we come up against in our life and we don't have the answer to. And so there's all different kinds of situations. And so in this scenario, he said this kind, this sort, it comes out by fasting and prayer. And fasting is a place alone with God, where we get revelation knowledge, where we get faith because we have the answer. That's what he's saying. And so when you get in a situation and you don't know what to do, and even if you've been off, you've been distracted, it's time to get alone and fast. Get rid of everyone else's opinion. Lots of times people get in a group and, "I got this going on. What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do?" And Jesus is saying, fast all of that. And they're still coming out asking someone else for their opinion because they didn't hear anything, because they're still distracted or fasting and doing something else. Fasting means fasting, being in that place alone with Jesus. And so he said, this kind goes out by fasting and prayer. Your faith can move mountains, but if you're distracted, if you don't have faith, if you haven't been, fasting should be something we do often and get in the place where it's not so hard to do, because your body's used to fasting once in a while, so that when you come up against a situation, that you can just go into that fast. You go and you be alone with him, and he gives you the answer, and not always during the fast, but after. Days after even. But it always feels good to be alone with him in his presence and get that right answer. Stop looking to other people. Who else could the disciples ask that question to? Why couldn't we do that? Except for Jesus. And all he's saying is, you don't have the faith you need. It's simple. If you have faith, you can say to this mountain, "Move," and it'll move. Nothing will be impossible for you. But you don't even have this much faith because you're so distracted. You're looking elsewhere. He's saying to us, you're looking elsewhere for answers when all you have to do is come to me. And fasting shouldn't be a word that you don't want to hear, a thing that you don't want to do, because it's amazing to have an answer that no one else has for the situation that you have. And apparently there's different kinds of demons, as well as there's different kinds of situations that we get in, and we just don't know. We don't know the answer. And George doesn't know the answer, and Susie doesn't know the answer, and Pastor Rick doesn't know the answer. But Jesus knows the answer, and he's saying, come and get away with me, and I'll show you the answer. Get on your knees, and I'll tell you what that means. Come on. Cut everything else off. Make me the most important thing, and I'll give you the answer. He so longs for you to just turn everything else off and be with him. And just be with him. And he's going to give you the revelation knowledge for the problem that you're facing. If you really want that answer, we have to get alone with him. And so often, when we're distracted and we're asking everyone else's opinion, really what Jesus is saying to me, what he said to me, what he's saying to us is we deny him. We're denying him because we're going somewhere else. He doesn't want to be denied. He doesn't want to be the least important thing. He wants to be the most important thing. He wants to be the only thing you want, more than food, more than someone else's company. He wants to be that thing. And sometimes that's another reason for fasting. We're not talking about all kinds of other reasons today, but sometimes you are putting things before him. And he wants to be that. He wants to be that thing that you want more than him. But in this case today, we're talking about answers. You need an answer, seek him. Knock, and the door will be open to you. Go to him. Put everything else aside. Not only food, but everything else that you usually do in a day. Unless it's something that he's asking you to do that you usually do. You're going to come out refreshed, renewed, and happy and excited because you've been with him. And you have the answer. And he wants you to have the answer. He doesn't want you to go without. So that's the word that I have for you today. It's an exciting word. Jesus is saying, get alone with me, and I will tell you. I want to be with you, and I want you to want to be with me. And it's not hard. You can do it. He will empower you to do it. You just have to have faith that he will. If you hear him tell you to fast, know that what you've been asking him for is the answer is in that fast. And don't let the enemy tell you can't. It's too hard. All you have to do is ask him, make it easy for me. Help me. And he will. And you're going to hear him talk to you. And it's going to be louder than the other things that you've been hearing on a day-to-day basis when you couldn't hear him. He's going to be louder now because you're giving him all your attention. He's going to be louder. You're going to hear him. You're going to have clarity. It's exciting. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. So let's acknowledge him. Jesus, we thank you for this word today. We thank you that it's the answer. You're the answer that we need. No one else has it. Everything else is just as a Band-Aid to cover up whatever we're dealing with because only you have that answer. So we thank you for this word. We thank you that it has everything to do with our eternal life because we're called to be overcomers. So thank you for teaching us this. We love you and praise you, give you all the glory. It does. It has everything to do with your eternal life because only those who overcome, their name isn't blotted out of the book of life. Only those who know him. Oh, wait for me, I never knew you. You're calling him Lord, but you're going to Susie, Jeff, and Aunt Lynn to find out your answers because you don't know him, right? Not everyone who calls me Jesus will enter into the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of my Father, and you can't do his will, and fasting is part of his will, and getting revelation knowledge is part of his will. He's going to say, if you're not seeking him, if you're not doing his will, he's going to say, I didn't know you. You're going to say, but Pastor George said that, and so-and-so said. You know, I hear a lot of teachings, and people are teaching things that they think, not the truth, just what they think. We got to find out what Jesus thinks, his opinion, the truth. Now, Revelation 3:20, Jesus said, I'm knocking at the door of your heart. So if you never asked him to come live on the inside of you, do that. He said, if you heed my voice, I'll come and live on the inside of you. He's going to be there all the time. But when you fast, his presence is going to be magnified. And you don't have to wait for him to tell you. You can say, Jesus, I want to be alone with you. I'm going to fast. Help me. Thanks so much for listening today. God bless you.